My friends, each of us carries within us a mind that never sleeps and emotions that flow like an endless river. Sometimes that river is calm and life-giving. Other times it rises in waves that threaten to pull us under. Yet, we are not powerless before these tides. We are not condemned to be prisoners of our own thoughts or servants to every shifting feeling. We have within us the ability, with practice and grace, to bring calm to the
What a joy to
storm
return
and
to
light
St.
to the
Francis
confusion.
this morning to have
The
a chance
mind
to
is a
visit.
gift. Our emotions are gifts, but like every gift, they are entrusted to us with the responsibility of care. If we do not learn how to guide them, they can guide us into harm. But when we place them under the care of wisdom, reflection, and inner discipline, they become instruments of peace rather than turmoil. The first step in controlling your mind and emotions is to learn stillness. We live in a world of noise, outside and inside, yet stillness is the language of the soul. In quiet, we begin to see the difference between what is urgent and what is important, between what is passing and what is eternal. Stillness clears the fog. The second step is to breathe with awareness. Breath is the bridge between body and spirit, between restlessness and peace. When your emotions rise, do not let them control you. Take one slow, deep breath. Let it remind you that you are not simply a bundle of reactions. You are a child of wisdom, capable of responding with dignity. The third step is choosing your focus. Whatever you give your mind to will take root. If you dwell on anger, bitterness will grow. If you dwell on gratitude, peace will blossom. You may not control every thought that enters your mind, but you can decide which ones deserve your attention. The fourth step is the practice of acceptance. We all encounter pain, disappointment, even sorrow. Denying these emotions only deepens the wound. Acceptance allows us to face reality with courage. It does not mean we surrender to despair. Rather, it means we see clearly, we acknowledge truth, and then we move forward with hope. The fifth step is cultivating detachment. This does not mean indifference. It means holding life with an open hand instead of a clenched fist. When we cling too tightly to control, we are shaken by every loss. But when we live with detachment, we learn that joy is not found in possession or outcome, but in the way we walk through life with grace. And finally, the sixth step, nurture inner prayer or reflection. When you turn inward daily, grounding yourself in silence and reflection, you discover a wellspring of strength. From that wellspring comes clarity. From that clarity comes freedom. And from that freedom comes the mastery of mind and emotions. My friends, the mind and emotions will never be perfectly still, for they are part of being human. But with practice, patience, and discipline, you can rise above them, using them not as masters, but as companions on the journey. When you live this way, you become a presence of peace in a restless world. Stillness is not simply the absence of sound or movement. It is the posture of the soul when it pauses long enough to truly see. In a world where noise has become our constant companion, many of us have forgotten the power of silence. The chatter of devices, the endless stream of demands, and even the restless voices within our own minds can make it feel almost impossible to experience quiet. Yet, when we allow ourselves even a moment of stillness, something shifts within us. The fog of confusion begins to lift, and what once seemed overwhelming suddenly becomes manageable. It is in stillness that clarity is born. When we do not practice stillness, we often confuse urgency with importance. The mind, when scattered, reacts to every sound, every disturbance, as though it were a crisis. This is why so many people live in a constant state of anxiety, running after what seems urgent, but neglecting what truly matters. Stillness creates the space for discernment. It is like clearing the dust from a window so that light can shine through. What is essential, what is lasting, and what is life-giving become visible when the heart grows quiet enough to perceive them. Stillness also allows us to recognize the difference between the temporary storms of emotion and the deeper currents of truth within us. Anger, fear, and worry can appear larger than life when we are caught in their grip. But if we step back into silence, we realize that these emotions, like passing clouds, do not define the entire sky. In stillness, we begin to see that who we are is not the storm itself, but the vastness in which the storm passes. This awareness helps us avoid rash decisions and destructive reactions. Many people resist stillness because it feels uncomfortable at first. Silence can reveal the noise within us, the unsettled thoughts, the buried anxieties, the unfinished struggles. But this discomfort is not a punishment, it is an invitation. Just as a wound must be exposed to air before it can heal, our inner restlessness must be brought into the light of stillness to be calmed. By sitting quietly, even for a few minutes each day, we learn to face ourselves with honesty without running away. It is in that honest encounter that healing begins. Stillness is not a luxury for a chosen few. It is a necessity for every soul that longs for peace. Without stillness, life becomes a blur of activity with little meaning. With stillness, we discover direction. It teaches us patience in a world that rushes, courage in a world that fears, and hope in a world that doubts. Stillness brings clarity, and clarity brings freedom. The freedom to see life as it truly is and to walk in it with wisdom and strength. Breath is the most constant companion of our lives, and yet it is the one we pay the least attention to. From the moment we are born until the moment we leave this world, breath carries us, sustains us, and gives life to every cell of our being. And still, we take it for granted. When our emotions rise, when the mind feels scattered and out of control, we often forget the simple gift that lies right beneath our nose, the breath itself. To return to the breath is to return to balance. To breathe with awareness is to reclaim calmness in the midst of turmoil. When emotions like anger, fear, or grief take hold, the body reacts before we even realize it. The heartbeat quickens, the chest tightens, the muscles tense. But if in that very moment we choose to pause and breathe deeply, we interrupt the cycle. A deep breath is like a gentle hand placed upon the shoulder of the restless mind, whispering, "Be still." It slows the racing heart, relaxes the body, and begins to clear the fog of heightened emotion. Breath creates a space between what we feel and how we choose to respond. In that space lies freedom. The breath also acts as a bridge between the body and the spirit. When you breathe shallowly, Hurriedly, the body follows with stress and unease. But when you breathe fully, deeply, with intention, the body begins to soften and the mind follows into a state of greater peace. This is why so many traditions throughout history have taught practices of breathing, not as mere physical exercises, but as pathways to inner clarity. A calm breath leads to a calm mind, and a calm mind can face even the stormiest emotions with dignity. Another gift of breath is its ability to bring us back to the present moment. So much of our unrest comes from being trapped in memories of the past or anxieties about the future. But the breath is always here, always now. When you draw air into your lungs and release it with awareness, you anchor yourself in the present. In that present moment, fears about tomorrow lose their grip, regrets about yesterday fade, and you stand firmly in the only place where peace can truly be found, the here and now. Learning to use the power of breath requires practice, but it does not require anything complicated. It can be as simple as pausing in the middle of a heated argument and choosing to inhale slowly before speaking. It can be closing your eyes at the end of a long day and letting 10 deep breaths wash away the noise. It can be greeting each morning with a breath of gratitude before you even rise from bed. Breath, when embraced with awareness, becomes not only a tool for calming emotions, but a reminder of life itself, fragile, precious, and ever renewing with each inhalation and exhalation. What we choose to focus on has the power to shape our inner world more than we realize. The human mind is like fertile soil. It does not question what is planted. It simply allows whatever seeds are placed in it to grow. If we constantly sow seeds of anger, resentment, or fear, we should not be surprised when our lives are filled with bitterness and unrest. But if we consciously plant seeds of gratitude, kindness, and hope, those too will take root and blossom. Focus, therefore, is not just a passing habit, it is the quiet architect of our character. The challenge is that the mind does not remain empty. It always attends to something. If we do not guide our focus with intention, it will be taken captive by every distraction, every negative thought, every passing impulse. This is why so many people feel weighed down, not because life is inherently unbearable, but because their attention has been allowed to settle on shadows instead of light. By choosing where to direct our focus, we reclaim authority over the way our inner life unfolds. Focus also teaches us that not all thoughts are worthy of our time. Just as a gardener must decide which plants to nurture and which weeds to pull, we must decide which thoughts deserve our energy. Not every worry deserves attention. Not every offense deserves rehearsal in our minds. By returning our focus to what uplifts and strengthens us, we allow goodness to grow taller than bitterness and peace to overshadow turmoil. This is not avoidance, it is wisdom. Moreover, focus is contagious. The energy we hold within us radiates outward to others. If we constantly focus on what is negative, those around us will feel the heaviness we carry. But if we focus on gratitude, compassion, and understanding, that too becomes a gift we offer to others. The home, the workplace, even the community at large can be transformed when enough hearts and minds choose to fix their attention on what is noble rather than what is destructive. Our focus not only shapes us, it shapes the world around us. Practicing focus requires discipline, but discipline that is gentle rather than harsh. It is not about forcing the mind to remain still, but about patiently guiding it back when it wanders. Just as the sun nourishes whatever it shines upon, so too our focus nourishes whatever it rests upon. Each day, we are invited to decide where that light will shine. Will it fall upon fear, feeding it until it consumes us? Or will it fall upon gratitude, love, and truth until they grow strong enough to guide us forward? That choice is ours, and it is renewed with every moment we live. Acceptance is one of the most misunderstood virtues of the human spirit. Too often, people mistake acceptance for weakness, for giving up, or for surrendering to hopelessness. But true acceptance is none of these. Acceptance is courage. It is the willingness to look at life as it truly is, without denial, without illusion, without turning away. It is the strength to face what is painful or difficult without allowing it to break your spirit. When you accept reality, you are not resigning yourself to defeat. You are taking the first step toward wisdom and healing. When we refuse to accept our emotions or experiences, we create more suffering than the situation itself demands. Anger at our anger, fear of our fear, denial of our grief, these are like chains added to the burden we already carry. Acceptance does not mean we enjoy the storm, but it allows us to stop fighting the rain and instead seek the shelter that will protect us. In that way, acceptance lessens the weight of our pain because we no longer waste energy resisting what is already here. Acceptance also teaches us patience with ourselves. Many people struggle because they believe they should always feel strong, always feel happy, always be in control. But human life is not built that way. There will be moments of doubt, seasons of sorrow, days when emotions feel overwhelming. To accept this truth is to recognize our humanity and to give ourselves permission to be honest. Only by embracing our limitations can we also discover our resilience. For resilience is not born in denial, it is born in honesty. Furthermore, acceptance makes way for transformation. When we look clearly at our emotions and our struggles, we create the possibility of growth. Denial freezes us, acceptance frees us. Think of a tree that has been struck by a storm. If it resists the wind, it may break, but if it bends and sways, it survives, and with time, it grows stronger roots. Acceptance allows us to bend with the storms of life without losing our ground. It gives us the flexibility to endure and the perspective to learn from our trials. Perhaps most importantly, acceptance builds compassion. When we accept our own emotions, our fears, our grief, our weaknesses, we learn to accept those of others as well. We become less judgmental, less harsh, more patient. This is strength not only for ourselves, but also for the people we encounter. Acceptance softens the heart without weakening it, creating a spirit that can carry both its own burdens and the burdens of others with grace.